Hi, I'm Rob, and in this video I'm going to tell you some really cool tips and secrets about the DualSense controller for the PS5. Some you may know about, but I bet you there's at least one or two that you didn't know about that are really good. First up, and one of the most basic ones of all, is anywhere on this home screen here, a press of the triangle button will take you straight up to the top bar and the search and settings. And whilst we're on settings, this leads me to my very first super tip. This is a really good one, this. Now, the DualSense controller operates via Bluetooth. Out of the box, how you set it up, this is how it comes. The thing is, Bluetooth does have some latency on it. In other words, when you move the controller, press buttons, it's not happening quite as quickly as it could be, but you can change all that. If you're a competitive player, you can press Settings, go down to Accessories, go down to Controller General, move over to Control Method, and change it from use Bluetooth to use USB cable. When you've got a controller plugged in, plug the cable into the front of the machine. You may have to buy a longer one depending upon how far you sit away. Plug it into the controller and you will reduce that latency to as low as it can possibly be with the PS5, giving you the edge in your gaming exploits. Next up, we have Tilt to Type. This is actually pretty useful if you're always using the controller to type messages, and this is a really handy one. Because normally when you type a message, you have to use the D-pad and you have to move across one character at a time. It can be a little bit slow and clunky, and it's like, come on. But you can press L3 and R3 at the same time. This will activate Tilt to Type, and you can move the cursor around by moving the controller, and it's really quick and easy once you get used to it. And to revert back to normal type, just push any direction on the D-pad. Your DualSense is for the PlayStation 5, but it's not just for the PlayStation 5. You can also use it for smartphones and laptops. Hold down the PlayStation button and share button and the blue light starts to blink. This is Bluetooth pairing mode, and you can use this to connect your smartphone or laptop and use your PS5 controller on those devices. Is your DualSense controller plugged into the PlayStation charging so much it may as well be a wired controller? If that's the case, you may be able to do some things to lengthen the battery life. So let's go over to settings and see what we can do. Let's go down to accessories and pick controller. Now, this is one thing which can lengthen the battery life before you have to charge again. It's on strong as standard. If you lower it to medium, you're not going to notice that much of a difference, and you can even turn it off completely or turn it to weak. On some games you don't really need the vibration, but overall, like, medium or weak is a good way to lengthen the battery life. Medium, I find, a happy medium, so to speak. So the trigger effect intensity is another way you can increase battery life further. Again, starts off on strong as standard. I quite like it on that. But again, medium, weak or off are other options, and each one will elongate the battery life even more. As does the brightness of controller indicators. I have this on dim as standard because there's no need for it to be bright. When it's on bright, this really does help drain the battery by quite a bit. And it's not like you're looking at the controller all the time thinking, oh, that colour looks nice or whatever. So I've just turned it down to dim and got extra longevity out of the battery life before I need a recharge. Next one, if you don't want to be bombarded with messages or just want to play solo without being disturbed, you can appear offline. Now, a lot of people know you can do it from here. You can just change your online status to appear offline, and that means nobody can see you playing games. You can just play in peace knowing you're not going to be disturbed. But you can also do this when the PlayStation very first turns on, so people can't even see you come online in the first place. When your profile logo appears, you can press the option button, go down to appear offline, and you'll just appear offline absolutely immediately. No one will know you're playing games. Next one, quickly see your game's progress of any PS5 game you're playing by pressing the PlayStation button quickly twice while in the game. Like that, you can see my progress is 87%. Got these two to unlock from this latest trophy update, and you can look at other trophies there at the same time. Did you know you can turn off your PlayStation controller in 3 different ways? 4 if you include chucking it at the wall if you've got an audio in a game, but that one doesn't really count. The first one is kind of obvious. It'll turn off automatically once you turn off the PlayStation. And the second way to turn it off is by pressing the PlayStation button, scrolling over to the little accessories logo, pressing DualSense controller, and then you can turn it off from there. And the third way of turning it off is simply by holding down the PlayStation button for 10 seconds on the controller. It'll turn off. This is really useful if the controller is going to be idle. For example, you're playing a PSVR 2 game which doesn't use it or something like that, and you don't want the controller sitting there losing charge. Next up, we have Enable Zoom. Zoom is useful for various things. For example, if you use the PlayStation's web browser and there's some small text there you want to see, or just want to see something in some more detail, go to Settings, Accessibility, go over to Zoom, enable it like that, and you just start it by pressing the PlayStation and square button at the same time. So let's give that a little whirl. So the PlayStation button and square at the same time, 3 different levels of zoom, and then you can look at things in more detail. Okay, right, enough of that. Next up, if your controller is being a bit of a horror and playing up, you can hard reset it by using a paperclip or similar and pressing the hidden button at the back for 5 seconds. This will reset the controller. And lastly, you can see hidden controls and customize the PlayStation Home controls. Press the PlayStation button to bring up the menu, press down so your cursor is going over all the icons at the bottom, and press the options button. This will bring you to this menu here, where you can actually get rid of some of the icons you don't use and put them on the lower bar, which are then hidden. And conversely, you can do the opposite if you like as well. And you can even move these around and put them wherever you like, which is really nice. So there it is, there's the video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful or helpful, it'd be really cool of you if you bash that like and subscribe button, it really does help. And feel free to share the video wherever you like. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.